Welcome everyone. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar, Artificial Intelligence for Healthcare. I am Lavanya Santosh, Assistant Professor, Department of CSE, Dr. AIT. The resource person for today's webinar is Dr. Deepthi D. Patil. I would like to welcome our beloved Principal Sir in his absence, Dr. C. Nanjundaswamy, Principal, Dr. AIT for this webinar. Next, I would like to welcome Dr. Siddharaju Sir, Dean Academic, Professor and Head, Department of CSE, Dr. AT in his absence. Also, I would like to welcome all the participants for this webinar. Now we request Professor Asha Ma'am, Associate Professor, Department of CSE, Dr. AIT, to present the bio of our speaker, Dr. Deepthi D. Patil. Over to you, Asha Ma'am.
Dr. Deepthi D. Patil is currently working as Associate Professor in Information Technology Department at MKSSS New Kings College of Engineering for Women, Pune. She is member of Board of Studies of Information Technology at Savitribai Pune University and VIIT Pune. She is recipient of various honors and awards. She is awarded as Best Teacher by Savitribai Phule Pune University. She has authored books in areas of data structures and mobile healthcare. She has 75 research articles to her credit, which are published at various national and international journals and conferences. Madam Patil is involved in developing healthcare system prototypes and for which she has filed various national and international patents. One granted patent related to mobile healthcare system is also to her credit. She is contributing as editor, reviewer, session chair, and committee member to various international conferences and journals. Our area of special interest include mobile healthcare, analytics, data science, and artificial intelligence. Dr. Deepthi is also certified patent attorney. She consults on patent drafting and filing. Welcome to this conversation.
Thank you, Asha Ma'am. Dear participants, if you have any questions during the presentation, please type it in the question and answer option available in your screen. We will address them at the end of the webinar. Now, without further ado, I will turn over the session to our speaker, Dr. Deepthi D. Patil. Over to you, ma'am.
Yes, thank you, Lavanya ma'am. Can you stop presenting so that I can start presenting?
Yes, ma'am.
If you stop presenting. Yeah. Thank you.
Welcome, ma'am.
Yeah. Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. At the start, I would like to thank Dr. Ambedkar Institute of Technology for giving me this forum for expressing my views on the topic artificial intelligence for healthcare. In this pandemic situation, I hope that all of you are safe at your home and making fruitful use of your available time by enhancing your knowledge and expertise. Artificial intelligence for healthcare is this topic is very close to my heart because I am working in this domain of artificial intelligence and healthcare since a decade. I'm looking at this topic is like how I can help society and how my research will get benefited with this healthcare solutions. And this is like as day by day the stress is increasing, technology is enhancing, life has become very fast. How the health issues are increasing. So how we can use this technology itself to overcome these health issues and enhance our life standards. So with this, I will be quickly touching upon the agenda of today's topic. That is, I will be talking about what is artificial intelligence in brief, then role of AI in healthcare, how AI is impacting healthcare industry, the different techniques available and used for healthcare solutions. I will be also discussing the case studies and challenges and opportunities for the researchers and healthcare industry too. So this artificial intelligence term is introduced in 1956 by John McCarthy, and saying that it is nothing but the science and engineering of making intelligent systems. AI refers to the simulation of human intelligence in machines that are programmed to think like humans and mimic their actions. So basically, the characteristic of AI is to rationalize and take actions that have the best chance of achieving a specific goal. Now, what are these goals? The goals may be learning something. It can be learning by experience, the inputs it is provided to the AI systems, or the changing environment and the feedbacks. It can be, the goal could be the finding solution for a particular problem, or reasoning that given a data, why it has happened, getting those answers. So answering questions from available data. Then planning, it relates to mostly about robotics in AI in robotics. So inferring the required steps to reach a goal. If a robot is trained in a controlled environment, based on the current state, how it can go to the next step to reach a goal. Even perception is like you have ample amount of data available. So how to interpret or understand that data? It could be images, it could be audio, it can be languages. So everything such kind of problems we are getting solution with AI systems. Now, why this AI is impacting healthcare so much? According to the PwC research, AI is going to contribute about $15.7 trillion in the global economic growth by 2030. And the largest impact of AI will be in the field of healthcare. The reasons could be previously the health related data was not available. People were reluctant to share their data. But nowadays, because of this industry revolution, industry 4.0 or sensor technology, lot of wearable computing devices are made available through which the data of health data could be collected. And AI is data thirsty. So if the data is available, yes, AI can do anything. So this data is also in healthcare, mostly the data is very high dimensional, because giving just a simple MRI image, it has an ample number of features. It may be into thousands. So handling such high dimensional data was the challenge. And now, because of development of certain complex algorithms like deep learning, it is becoming possible to handle this high dimensional data. And of course, for processing this data, now high performance computing machines are also made available, like GPUs, TPUs, like that. So that's why AI is impacting the healthcare industry drastically. Even because of this revolution, AI, hospitals are widely making use of AI technology. It may be like in Israel, it is been used for allocating room on patient triage, like based on the emergency services to whom to allot the particular room is been decided through AI technology. It is acting as a powerful assistant to medical professionals in the process of screening or diagnosis. So disease prediction has become very much possible, or very much easy with the help of AI technology. So it is not replacing the doctors, but it is providing an assistance so that quick or immediate decisions could be taken. So even it provides you the warnings of infection like sepsis or medical imagery. It is also working in the field of radiology. It is working very nicely, where deep learning things or different deep nets are used. So one of the example is IBM's Watson for oncology. So IBM Watson is giving the analysis of MRI images. That those are nothing but the 3D images available, and what that they are giving the very good results of about 95% accuracy. And even there is this IBM Watson has detected 30% cases which are not been detected or diagnosed by the doctors. IBM Watson was able to diagnose it with the help of the research papers available. Sometimes it happens that researchers make study, they publish paper, and they come up with different ideas and techniques. But because of this ample amount of text or the documents available, some of the best articles go undetected or will not be considered. So IBM Watson, based on the natural language processing, they have segregated such kind of MRI scan related results, and those techniques have been used for medical image analysis or MRI scans. So that this is how the AI is evolving a lot and providing you the ease, or the medical practitioners the ease to detect the particular disease. So even Google DeepMind recently has developed a technology for diagnosis eye. So diabetic retinopathy is one of the research area where nowadays like around 30% people dies due to this diabetes disease, and or may get blind because of this diabetes. So looking at the retina of a person, this kind of Google DeepMind can detect whether a person is needed certain surgery or certain immediate attention. So patient triage has become very easier with the help of this AI technology. Even predicting mortality rate, drug discovery. Nowadays, pharma companies are making use of this AI technology very largely for making drugs. So you can see that here everyone is seeing and finding a solution for COVID. So, and no one is still got success. So there is a possibility with the AI technology, they will be able to find the solution for it or a drug for it. And now this drug is not applicable to all the patients. So you have to group out the patients to which type of patient a particular drug is applicable. So that is also possible with this type of AI solutions. Self-diagnosis is one of the kind thing related to chatbots actually, because every time, sometimes nowadays you make use of Arogya Setu app. So now in this Arogya Setu app, everyone asks for, like in that app, we get to ask, and self assessment is there. So here we answer certain questions, and from that they decide that whether you are fit or not, or you are prone to corona or not. But this is just typing a text or saying yes or no. But we can also embed a speech with it. So with that, these chatbots are actually talking to you. You get a feel that you are talking to doctors, and then patient can get relief that whether I'm okay, my health is okay, or I need a special attention for this, or I should visit a doctor. So that self-diagnosis is also has become possible or easier with this NLP type of technology, and also it saves time of doctors also and patients also. This is related to diagnosing a disease, predicting a disease, providing the different prescriptions to the diseases. Now, in healthcare industries also, as looking at it as a business, this scheduling of appointments, attracting customers, then providing assistance to the customers, all these can be possible with this AI technology, where the hospital data management, so all the data is kept in a curated way, and then it is been the whole task is regularized with the AI technology. Then even some now there are a lot of fraud happening in mediclaim policies. So whether a particular fraud or the particular claim is fraud or not, that kind of malpractices can be detected with AI technology. So in short, it is providing you a strong decision support system. So it is like it is becoming a backbone. AI is becoming a backbone for as a decision support system for healthcare industry, and that's why AI in healthcare is taking a boom. So how it is promising? It is enabling medical professionals to quickly identify medical emergencies, speeding up treatments in life critical circumstances like cardiac arrest. So if there is a heart attack, then what type of precaution, preventive care, and like what kind of emergency care should be provided to the particular person is possible with this AI technologies. Even diagnosis of cancer like disease, which is actually hard to overcome, but people if it is diagnosed in the at the early stages, it can be cured. So that is also possible with AI technology. Now let me touch upon this AI techniques which are been available. Actually, AI is a big umbrella, and in under this umbrella, lot many techniques have been developed. As the main motto is to make the machine intelligent, okay, and to think to make it think like human. So how we can do it? There are various techniques available. I have jot down some of them. Like one of the main technique is machine learning. So machine learning is the part of AI, artificial intelligence, which is capable of which is making machine capable of learning the behavior, the patterns with the different algorithms, and it needs nothing but the data. So if you feed a data based on your information or the knowledge, then based on that, machine learns the particular behavior, and accordingly it forms the models, and then you can have a different predictions, forecasting based on them. Okay. Then machine learning and deep learning, they are correlated. It is like we can say that deep learning is a subset of the machine learning, and it is an enhanced version actually. Actually, we can say deep learning is nothing but the extension of neural network. So you can see in the era of 1980, the neural network was introduced, and in this there was multi-perceptron layer was there. It is nothing but the game of weights and biases. So here you have in certain inputs, and you have a hidden layer, and then you will have a couple of outputs. Whereas this neural network is now extended to a deep learning neural network where convolution layer, max pooling layer are being introduced. Now, why it was so? Because neural network was suffering from the disadvantage of curse of dimensionality. Now, if you know about the concept, curse of dimensionality is if there are lot many attributes available, the model fails to build. So this is overcome by this deep learning kind of thing, where you have a convolution layer where you can get a feature map from the given set of inputs, and then you can only focus on the certain parameters. That is like automatic feature extractions could be is possible with the help of pooling layers, and then you can have deep or shallow network. Obviously, deep learning also has certain disadvantages. Nowadays, people are widely using deep learning. In every problem statement, I can see that researchers previously used to use SVMs, decision trees, and everything, and now they are shifting it to the deep learning technique. But is it always is it always okay to use deep learning? Is it necessary? Actually, is it necessary to use deep learning is thought to be given by the researchers. Yes, deep learning gives the precise output, high accuracy, that is okay, but it has its own advantages and disadvantages. Like if you can say that like if the number of layers goes on increasing, there is a concept of vanishing gradient, or this type of things is possible, where bias the model stops learning, and you may get some different outputs. So sometimes it happens that a monkey standing in the forest with the bicycle may be detected as a human. Okay, so this is also happening with the deep learning. So where to use deep learning and where not is to be decided by researchers. So this was, I have given this more focus on this deep learning and neural network because it is now in boom, and researchers are thinking to use only deep learning, but that is not only the way to find a solution. But yes, it is a promising technique with which people can find a better solution in imaging or natural language processing. Other types of other techniques are like I said about natural language processing, that natural language processing can be implemented with deep learning, but it has its own beauty. So natural language processing is like making machine understand and interpret the human language. Now there are n number of languages in the world, and making a corpus of it, annotating those all the corpus is the basic challenge with the researchers in this natural language processing area. We have robotics, AI in robotics, genetic algorithms are there, where we have different chromosomes and mutation operators are applied, and the survival of fittest is the principle of genetic algorithm. Whereas expert systems are also used in healthcare, where it works on the decision rules, where number of decisions rules are given and feed by the experts, and based on that, the diagnosis is done using the expert system. It is also used in chatbots, where some of the particular set of questions are being fed, and accordingly corresponding answers are been fed. But yes, in that also natural language processing plays a vital role. Swarm and intelligence is also one of the AI technique, where it is based on the how the insects or ants work in colony. That is like ant colony, where the collective information they work collectively but in a distributed manner. So these are the different eras. Even I can say about fuzzy logic, where only the answers are not in zeros and ones, and it can prove important in case of diseases, where it is not necessary that person is suffering from a disease, but it may suffer from the disease. So this is kind of uncertainty that is in the problem statement, and in those cases, fuzzy logic may be useful to implement. So these are certain techniques which are very promising, and that are used nowadays in the healthcare, and that's why AI in healthcare is becoming very promising. Now we will consider certain case studies in different eras. So I just mentioned about medical imaging and diagnosis. Now this field is upbringing. This is a field of radiologists, and radiologists are getting very much in advantage of this type of deep learning technology for image analysis. Yes, deep learning has its disadvantage, but it has lot many advantages with it. So and especially in image analysis or image processing or a computer vision area, where deep learnings are able to extract the features automatically, and they can those could be cannot be identified with bare eyes with the of the doctor, that also can be recognized with this CNN. But the condition is that you should provide them with the annotated images, as it is if you are using CNN. So here you have to have a supervised kind of learning, where you have the images. In this case, you can MIT researchers have developed this voxel morph kind of fast CNN for MRI analysis, and it has proven 1,000 times better than the diagnosis done by the doctors or medical professionals. So it is promising medical professionals to give better diagnosis and in time. That is very important, because in healthcare, time is very important. If you detect a person is having corona after his death, what's the use? So that's the case where AI technology is helping medical professionals to get to the correct decision and give a proper diagnosis or a prescription for the particular, or a treatment to the patient to get rid of a particular disease. So here what they have done is they have taken the MRI images, around 7,000 MRI scans they have taken, and they have given it as an input to this CNN voxel morph, and then they have tested it on 215 new MRI scans which were not from the training sets, and it has given very promising results. So such kind of research is happening, where CT scan images, X-ray images, USGs, all these images are taken, and on them the models are being developed to find out the different patterns and then to diagnose the particular disease. And it is also possible to, like this is the image which I have shown, that people used to do what, a person is having brain tumor. So brain tumor, the let's say 6 months before, what was the stage. It has to do go by MRI, and then after 6 months, what is the MRI reports, and that they used to compare. But with the help of this type of AI technology, it has become very much easier and possible to compare it within seconds and tell you where is the differences, where is the difference, and where is the tumor exists, and what it is at what stage. So that minute detail also can be recognized with this AI technology. Cancer is like there are and cancer is very dangerous disease. Everyone is afraid of it. We haven't get any cure, a perfect cure for this cancer, and it has various subtypes. So and for that purpose, for detecting this, we used various radiology techniques and different things. But artificial intelligence, I said, as medical image analysis, they can take certain different other signals also for analyzing the health or the analyzing the disease. So one of the way is analyze breath. Now this like corona is a respiratory disease, so like people gets breathing problem, but no one wants to go too near to the corona patient. That is a different thing. But taking the sample of the breath of a patient, also we can predict a person is having certain kind of diseases or not. So in cancer research also, there are certain particular pathological uh, movements or events are present in that particular breath of a patient that can be help, that can help doctors to decide or confirm that a person is going to get a particular disease or is suffering from a particular disease. So this has been shown that here there are various techniques through which you can analyze patients' MRI scan, CT scan, can do biopsy and everything for detecting a person whether the person is having cancer or not. But with this, in addition to that, you can also confirm it with the breath of the person's patient. So that is possible with this AI technology. One of the other disease, which is now, this is a small project developed by my BE students, that is a non-invasive diabetic detection using breath analysis. Now, what I wanted to say is there are certain invasive technologies and there are certain non-invasive technologies. Now, what do you mean by this? Non-invasive things are like breath. You don't have to like put a needle in your body and take the blood and sample, then you analyze it. Non-invasive is just you are putting it and you are getting certain samples, and based on that you are analyzing whether a person is okay or fit or something different is happening in his body. So diabetes is one of the things where you have to go and check your blood sugar level and everything. But with the help of breath also, you can check or detect whether a person is suffering from a diabetes, and that too which type of diabetes it has, maybe type 1 or type 2. So there are various type of diabetes. So in that case, the acetone level present in the breath of a patient you can detect. So here, just detection is one thing, but learning from the things, learning the patterns from the breathing patterns of a patient, you can also find certain data which will tell that yes, a person is prone to diabetes or not. So that kind of thing is also possible. Previously, what people used to do is there will be only thresholding kind of techniques. So you have a certain thresholds, and you are taking a sample, you are matching with the thresholds, and you are telling that person is suffering from this or not. But this is kind of an expert system. But now we want to make this expert system smart enough. So to make it smart, you can have machine learning or AI techniques to learn the patterns. And from learning the behavior of it, they can predict the future. So that is the beauty of AI. Next area where AI is contributing in healthcare is preventive care. Everyone, most of you must be having the Fitbit or Apple Watch with you, and you always monitor how many calories you have burned, how many steps you walk, and what is my blood pressure level and what is my heart rate. And this is nothing but all preventive care, which has become possible with this artificial intelligence. Now, like I said earlier, that artificial intelligence is like, initially it was just thresholding, but now if you monitor your blood pressure regularly, it also gives a summary that in this week, how was your blood pressure, how was your heart rate, how many steps you walk, how many calories you burn. Sometimes it happens that you exercise a lot, but your calories are not burned. So that time you say that metabolic rate of yours it may be less. Because of that, your calories are not getting burned. But this type of thing can be learned with the AI techniques. So this is a architecture which has been proposed by us in 2011 and 2011, and been I have got a patent on this, that how you can in real time, how you can monitor your vital signals, and how you can find out the patterns in it, and how you can predict the health risks involved in your body. So that was the thing we have proposed in 2010, and now the many of the belts and something like Apple Watch has come, and still they are not app. They require certain application to monitor and do the analysis. So
Excuse me,
here,
ma'am. Sorry,
yes.
ma'am. Sorry to interrupt you. Can you please share your
Yeah.
screen, ma'am? Your presentation is not visible.
अभी तो नो अच्छा कब से नहीं है ये
No, we are able to see it. I think you have to pin.
You have pinned it, ma'am. Just pin it because
okay myself
no, ma'am.
it's
Presentation.
visible they are saying no my presentation is visible no
Yes, yes, we
shall
can
I,
see.
Fine.
everyone is saying
Okay, ma'am. Yeah, yeah.
huh,
Few of them
it's
messaged us.
visible
So, okay, fine, ma'am. Thank you.
okay okay yes now I'm not able to see just a minute just a minute so is it visible, is it visible?
Yes, yes,
Yeah, okay. So that was about preventive care, which can happen in real time. Now, here one of the beauty is like everything is happening at mobile or the client side and not at the server side, which will also reduce the delay of conveying the risk involved. Now there is one person called Keeler kind of thing. That person was there and he got a heart attack at the midnight at 1 a.m. and he was wearing an Apple Watch. I'm not advertising Apple Watch, but such kind of belts may help. It has with the health app, it has given it a alarm that your blood pressure is going high and your heart rate is reduced and something like that. And then he has reached to the hospital, and because of this alert, real time alert, he could save its life. So such kind of as we are saying that AI is replacing human, but it can also be helpful to the society if you use it in a correct manner. So that is the role in preventive care AI can do. One of the other case study is, like I said, that life has become very fast and stress is increased, and this is the research one of my PhD students have done on real time depression analysis. Now looking at a face, we can say that he is looking very dull, so he may be like he's not happy and kind of thing. But sometimes, like who could have guessed that Sushant Singh Rajput will do the like atmatya kar lega. So how so he didn't show it to the world that he is unhappy, he is suffering from depression and everything. But with this type of AI technology, you can analyze and monitor the signals of the human body, and not only the face. हम बोलते हैं कि चेहरे पे मत जाओ. So chehra may not say everything every time. So in that case, but your vital signals will not lie you. So in that case, like EEG signals, brain signals will always tell that yes, you are going where, whether you are depressed mode, whether you are going towards depression. That is also possible to predict with this type of AI technology. And instead of relying on a single parameter, we can have multiple parameters, and with these multiple parameters you can predict whether person is suffering from a depression or not, and then the alerts can be given to it. So Sushant Singh Rajput को पहले ही किसी ने पहले ही alerts मिल जाते, या फिर if Sushant Singh Rajput's friends have got such kind of alerts, he may not be alone at home and he has taken such kind of suicidal attempt for ending his life. So we can save the life of people with AI technology if it is used in proper manner. Next technology or AI where AI is making progress is brain-computer interface. Now, brain-computer interface, it broadly refers to any system that establishes a direct connection between the nervous system and an electronic device. As I said earlier, that your EEG signals are telling you a lot. So there are certain kind of, here, as you say, there is alpha low and alpha high. These are nothing but the signals frequency of signal. There are alpha, beta, theta, alpha, beta, gamma kind of signals of different frequency present in your EEG signal, and those can tell you that whether what type of patterns or what type of thinking you are doing. So these signals can also use to control the machines. Now we know this great scientist, that is Stephen Hawking, who has given us a black hole concept. He was like totally paralyzed, but though he was paralyzed, he could convey his all thoughts and knowledge through this brain computer interface kind of machine. So if you see this type of computer, through his eye movements, brain signals, and the vibrations, he could convey what he wants to say. And that is nothing where the AI technology is helping paralyzed people, the people who are disabled, those who can contribute, and whatever they are thinking, they can express it with this brain computer interface. So he was suffering from this motor neuron disease, and communication is happening through brain signals and eyes. So that is the real help where AI is contributing or AI is giving us. The next is like everyone should care about women. So health of woman is very important for any family. So if the woman is fit, the family is fit. Like that we always say. So in that case, there are n number of problems women are facing. There are like cyst problem are there. You can say breast cancer problem is there. Like in pregnancy, there are certain complications happening with women, and that time this AI we can use or help for curing this type of diseases for the woman is very important. So one of the research which we have carried out is on pregnancy monitoring, where even there are many times there are preterm birth or cesarean deliveries, and woman has to undergo lot many surgeries. So in that case, this type of health monitoring system where cervical analysis or cervix analysis can be done in real time. The fetal monitoring can be done. The measuring of biometric parameters of the fetal can be done, and then certain alerts can be given. Even we can predict the end due date perfectly with the help of AI technology for the pregnant woman. So here also we have filed up one patent. So this is also kind of technology where we can contribute, or the researchers can contribute with the help of AI techniques. The next and interesting topic is Nadi Pariksha. Nowadays, many people are not believing in allopathy, but you can see in COVID movement also, homeopathy has come to help with that what you can say, arsenic album. So this type of medicine is helped us. So not allopathy is not only the solution. People are going towards Ayurveda. Whatever are the jadi booties and all the medicines which are Ayurvedic medicines, which are also not harmful to our body, are like people are preferring that. And for that purpose, this Nadi Pariksha techniques are also coming into picture, and people are doing the research in this in this area. So there are various three prakrutis, Vata, Pitta, Kapha, and with these prakrutis, seeing at your nadi, the person we can the Vaidya can predict whether a person is suffering from type of diabetes, cardiac something problems, or fertility studies that can be possible with just watching your nadi. So this nadi pariksha, for that purpose, there are many apps are available which can be used to analyze, and here also machine learning can be applied to detect or to find the patterns of a nadi, and based on that you can predict a person is having a disease, and then you can recommend a certain meditation to that person. Not only allopathy medicine, but only Ayurvedic medicines can also be prescribed with the this nadi pariksha techniques, and this is with the AI tools. So that is very important. So these are two devices like Nadi Tarangini and Nadi Swara. These are the two devices I got. So there may be another techniques also, but they need certain changes, or they need certain enhancement, and where the researchers are having scope to perform or apply their knowledge and develop AI techniques for it. The next case study that is we mostly think that, like, let's say in 2012 my mother has got a knee replacement surgery, and the knee replacement surgery and at a time both the knees are replaced. So these knee replaced, you must have seen the advertisement. Now robotic surgeries have come into picture. Now why these robotic surgery are becoming so popular? Because of the precision. There can be a human error while doing the surgery. I cannot say that doctors are not great and doctors are not doing it, but if there is a doctor of age 70, he is age 70, maybe with the help of technology he can do better operation than the bare eyes. So this is kind of scenario where robot assisted operating theater is there. Everything is operated through a robot. This robot is nothing but a machine which is been controlled by a surgeon, and surgeon will able to see a minute detail of the human body with these cameras. These are high resolution cameras, and the whatever pathology or whatever scans they want to carry out, they will be doing at the in the operation theater itself with this different medical instruments available, and they are all operated through this AI technologies. Because you have to do 3D rendering of the image, you have to detect a particular part, and image detection, image analysis, and operating the particular instrument based on the situation. Everything is done through this type of AI technology in this telerobotic surgeries. Though they are not replacing, but they are providing us a precision. So performing the desired task with increased precision, safety, and efficiency. There may be chances of infection and everything, which can be avoided with this type of telerobotic surgery. So you can see here, even in pre-operative care like X-rays, ultrasonic, say, CT is there. All these images can be learned or can be analyzed with these supervised and unsupervised techniques, and they can be used for 3D shape instantiation, depth estimation, visual odometry, structural mapping, feature tracking, image registration. So this is the famous robot Da Vinci surgical robot is there, which was introduced for telerobotic surgery. Even this type of technique is also helpful where doctor is in US and it wants to perform a surgery in India. Still, it is not yet possible, but there is a case study where the doctor was in Gujarat and the person was in Mumbai, and the doctor performed the operation through this Da Vinci type of robot, telerobotic surgery. So this may help in reducing the cost. So the cost to go to US, stay in that hospital may be much more higher than having this surgery here, where the doctor is at the remote place and still he can have the best surgeon to have the surgery. So that is the possibility. That is the possibility which is made happen with this AI type of AI robotic surgery. So these are certain case studies which are given where supervised and unsupervised learnings techniques are used for this surgery. This was all about the diagnosis, disease detection, performing surgery actually for. So AI is becoming the vardhan for the medical professionals. Yes, they are also reluctant for the technology because it may happen that AI may replace the doctors. But we will be discussing that topic, whether is it so? Is it so? That is the question. So we will be thinking on that matter also. uh, the next AI contribution in healthcare industry is for making their business hit. That is, business intelligence is also can be applied in this healthcare. So you can see there are n number of hospitals where to make a surgery, which doctor to prefer, which room to be taken, and how the appointments can be scheduled, how the reminders of to patients can be given, how to attract the customers as patients, how to think like how whether patient churning, like how the patient may go to the some another doctor, how that can be predicted. All these things can be also possible with this AI technology, seeing as the behavior patterns. So here the healthcare industry is also using AI for enhancing their businesses. That is, and also making patients life easier, because you don't have to wait so much of time. You will get the like the doctor's appointment kind of app is there. So based on the appointment you have to reach to hospital, you don't have to go earlier or later. So you have to wait in the queues for 1 or 2 hours. So because of this AI technology, it has become possible. The way the case study which I explain about the chatbots, where you can ask the question to the particular chatbot assistant, you will feel like you are talking to the particular person itself. You are talking in your language, and that language is being interpreted by that chatbot. Your questions are being understood by that chatbot, and then the answers are given. One of my student has also performed a research on this, where you in whatever technology you can speak in regional language, and based on your question it is giving you the answer. That is speech recognition. So that is there. Then it has also got the natural language processing. So natural language processing can get the input as text, it can get input as speech. So analyzing the text, written words, and analyzing the notes and notes of the voice, that is phonetic, or what are the words used. All these things are analyzed, and for that purpose different algorithms are being used for this natural language processing, which is used in these chatbots, and it is making life of the patient easier, because it is also possible to have a self health assessment, which I talked about Arogya Setu app. So thus AI is making a difference in healthcare industry, and that's why it is becoming a hit in the medical industry. So now everything is available. Everything has a solution. Then what is remaining? Why should now? Let's say everything is there. Then what should we do? The question could be asked by the researchers. Now you are saying that yes, deep learning is better in image analysis. I don't have any other options, and I will be using that. I will be having the particular DeepNet or VGNet developed by Google or developed by Microsoft. ResNet is there. There are various neural networks, deep neural networks, which models which are being trained. That is like a ImageNet challenge is there, where thousands of images are available there, millions of like actually images are available on which these nets are being trained. So that what you can do is you have to just augment your data. whatever is the case study related to image analysis you have, that ImageNet data plus your images, you can do, you can train the net again, that is called as transfer learning, and with that transfer learning you can get the solution. Now this is all possible, but still people are not they are not able to get 100% results. So always there is a chance of enhancement. Now there are certain mysterious diseases. Did you got a drug for the COVID? Did you got a remedy for the this corona? Why are you sitting at the at the home? Why you are not going out of your room, and you are just getting tense when you get a cough or a cold? Why? As technology is enhanced so far, then why we are not getting the solution for such diseases? These diseases, we can call it as mysterious diseases. They are not have a single pattern, and this single pattern may making the AI disable for working on it. But still, there should be some solution for it on which researchers should work. So there is one mysterious disease you must have heard in news, that Saharanpur fever. This is a Saharanpur is a city in the state of Uttar Pradesh, and there every year, 400 children die with this fever, and no one knows, no one, the physicians or medical researchers are failed to provide any reasons what is the cause of death. It is a simple fever, and then also children are dying, and this is happening since last 20 years. So since last 20 years, people are suffering from this disease, losing their lives, and then also in the advancement in technology is not helping it. And why can't you find out the solution or a remedy for it? So that is the question AI researchers should ask themselves, and then they will come to know that yes, there is a scope of improvement, scope of thinking, where still the machines are not thinking in the way of human. But if human are not able to find a remedy, how they will teach machines to get the remedy? So that is the question. So here this fever is like is someone has said, or some physicians are telling, that there is a weed called as kasondi, which is also called as pramada in English. It is called as cassia. This is the plant which has been shown, and it is widely seen in the jungles or the nearby area of this Saharanpur. And during this season, these weeds are there, and if the children gets in touch in this with this weed, they are suffered from this fever. But the other thing is, this plant is also been used in Ayurveda for the preparation of medicine on jaundice. So it is a medicine also. Then if it is a medicine, then how it is causing a death? So like ati tethe mathi, if you say in Marathi, so you should not take like much advantage of anything. So if this plant is, the dose is over, then overdose is there, then that time it will cause a damage to your body or health. So that is this kind of diseases still need to be researched, and you should find out a solution for such kind of diseases. The next disease we all know about, and we are all like, when this corona will go. Every time my child asks me question, when this corona will go, when I will go out and play. So this corona has like suffered us a lot. So why it is so? Because the symptoms are common among different diseases, and they are all common symptoms. This is a RNA based virus. Now you can, the research is going where people are working on RNAs or microarrays for detecting cancers. So same research can be carried out for this RNA of this particular viruses, so that we can find out certain patterns, and for which we can find out certain vaccine for fighting against this corona. So this is asymptomatic. It doesn't have a fixed pattern, and even there is one saying. There is one saying by Albert Einstein, that information is not knowledge. Information is not knowledge. The only source of knowledge is experience. Had you have an experience of this such type of COVID? Though there was SARS, but now the structure of this corona was something different. So people were not having the experience of this type of diseases. So when it is not there, then how could you find a solution for it? How your body is acting on it? Once you have got this solution, then yes, if such kind of solution has again arrived, then obviously we could get the solution on this type of corona type of diseases. So far we don't have drugs or vaccines for it. For that purpose, we can call this as mysterious diseases. So still, AI is contributing so far that this type of, we'll see, a telehealth machine is been developed where uh, doctors doesn't have to come into a vicinity of patient, and still he can diagnose the person, he can treat the person. So doctors even use a robot to treat the first person diagnosed with COVID-19 with this type of robo. So this is like a AI space to limit human interaction so that social distancing can be maintained and still the people are getting the medical service. So that is you can see that robot was equipped with a stethoscope to take the patient's vitals and a camera for doctors to communicate with the patient through a large video screen. So that is becoming possible with this AI type of technology. Even you can see here, as I said that I have mentioned the concept of transfer learning. So the whatever the ResNet was available and provided by Microsoft, on this, based on this ResNet, people have developed a COVID net, that is also deep learning, deep neural network, which is being trained on these X-rays and CT scans of COVID patients. So instead of taking swab, that is like an invasive technique, we can have this kind of non-invasive technique where just we are scanning the chest of the person, taking a MRI of this person. So here we are not considering we are not coming into directly contact with the COVID patient for taking swab or inserting something in a human body. Instead of that, we can have this type of scan, and then it is undergoing through COVID net, and these researchers have proven that it is giving it is able to predict or diagnose persons having COVID with this type of image analysis with the deep learning techniques. So COVID net is available, and still there are scope to enhance the accuracy, increase the precision. Precision is very important. So in this, looking at all these case studies, there are n number of case studies. Different cancers are there, different types of diseases are there. There are one more disease which is apnea, that is respiratory disease is there. So for that, we can apply machine learning techniques, stream mining, data mining, and different decision trees. All these things can be used to find out the patterns, to do the predictions, to do the forecasting for better precision and accuracy. Now, more precision and accuracy, this has been stressed for the researcher. This is research opportunities. Now, what do you mean the precision? That, like, if the person is having a COVID and you are detecting him COVID is okay. But if the person is not having COVID and you are detecting him as a COVID and giving, though there is not no treatment for COVID, but still people are getting 10 lakhs, 12 lakhs, 12 lakhs bills. That is like healthcare industry are making money. People are saying, I don't know, but this has been heard. So false alarm rate should be low. That is, you should not give false predictions. People, there was one very sad news that one person made a suicide because he came to know that he has COVID. But after that, when the report came, he was not suffering from COVID. So this should not happen. So your AI system should be such that they should give a precise diagnosis with the accuracy. So that is there. So this is precision and reduction of false alarms are the complementary thing. Even you should provide a cost-effective solutions, because healthcare comes in essential services. So everyone should afford. Everyone should get um, benefit of these healthcare services. So that's why it should provide a cost-effective solution. When thinking about that, when you are saying you are you're sharing your data. People were hesitating to download that Arogya Setu app because people were saying that he is tracing our location where we are. Now there is a threat that you are sharing your personal information. So while developing or designing these healthcare solutions, the developers should take into care about the privacy and security of a patient or a person, because that is also very important. So certain privacy preserving techniques are also available. They are also AI based, which should be embedded with these healthcare solutions. uh, then there is also one of the challenges that I said, that deep neural networks are performing very well. It is providing very nice image analysis, but the availability of annotated data is the question mark. So if you yourself are not knowing whether a person has certain disease or not, looking at that MRI, how you will annotate it? So even you have to go to medical professional, you have to annotate that particular MRI scan, whether it is normal or abnormal or something like that. Then even when you have this training data, then only the neural network will be able to understand the patterns and understand whether this type of thing should be classified in what class, whether it is normal or whether it is symptomatic. That is a challenge. So researchers can even contribute for developing a database. So that is one of the research challenge. Even we have to find out correlation among symptoms. What are the relations among symptoms, so that you can come to certain conclusions. So when we say this, all these things, then again the question, can they replace, like, can AI system replace human intelligence? Can they? I think they just mimic us. Okay. Until and unless we have the remedy, like when you're saying you are annotating a data and you are giving it to machine to run. So if the particular sample or a test is out of that particular, it is not relevant to that particular trained data, then it will not classify it correctly. So obviously, machines are still dependent on the human intelligence, and they are not replacing us, but they are assisting us. But yes, we have to use it in a correct manner. Okay, so that is the your thing. Then considering about health industry, are looking the health as a business industry, then there what are the limitations? And we have seen in this pandemic that yes, people are saying that there is no enough medical infrastructure available in India. People were people were hesitating, and why this lockdown is there, because if many people gets infected with coronavirus, there will not be availability of hospitals, availability of medical instruments, availability of doctors. So, and even when you're saying instruments, this type of AI techniques, embedded AI technique instruments, the development cost is very much. So that is one of the challenges. Even the integration issues, like many of the people are reluctant to use technology. So reluctance among medical practitioners to adopt AI, fear of replacing human is also there. Even ethical issues are there. People are like, just I said about false alarm rate. He was a person without a COVID, and you are predicting him as a COVID. So that ethical things should be followed. Lack of interoperability among AI solutions. People develop the health apps, develop different solutions, but if they are not interoperable, then and most of the time they are not interoperable. Take a example of Apple Watch only, because it will work with some certain apps only. It will work on iPhone only. So if it is the case, then there are certain limitations while using the health solutions. Government regulations also should be there. In US, there is a HIPAA protocol, which should be followed whenever there is any type of health related solutions comes. It has to be verified, like a FDA. They have to get verification and approval from those. So such kind of government regulations should be there. Privacy preserving, and plus the rapid software updates. If there are certain updates, if there are like nowadays that joke is coming, that what I said in previous webinar is now you forget everything, and now I am saying something different. like WHO is saying 1 month was something different, and now he's saying something different. That organization is saying something different. So whatever are the updates should be updated in that particular software, so that the correct solution people will get. So yes, that is all about AI in healthcare. AI has got lot of challenges and opportunities for the researchers, for the industry. It is going to help the mankind and us, and we can make use of this technology for betterment of our life and coming out of the health issues. So that is there. Everything is there. Solution is there. But what I want to say is, stay fit. Why you will need a solution? Why you will need a doctor? So key to stay fit is do exercise every day, eat balanced diet, have a balanced diet, spend time with your family, have a deep sleep, sufficient sleep. In this corona, please have a social distancing, and finally, don't worry, be happy. So thank you so much. I hope you will find this webinar helpful. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for the very informative session. Participants, if any questions, you can just post it in the chat box. There are no questions, ma'am. Hope you have explained it so clearly that it is so informative. Thank you for the wonderful session, ma'am.
Yes, thank you.
Ma'am,
Yeah,
our
questions are, yeah.
Right, Jody is going to join in a moment. Please.
New trends in AI, Palash.
Yeah.
Internet, the research papers. Palash, you can go search for the research papers through which you can get different new trends in AI. Even there are very nice articles available on internet. This IEEE transactions and the many people, many researchers publish their papers as open access, from where you can get the knowledge what are the different techniques being used. And even ResearchGate, on ResearchGate, researchers are sharing their articles and research, which will be help, which will tell you which are the different AI trends. Yeah. For depression analysis, for depression analysis, what are the inputs considered? Depression analysis, we have considered facial expressions, then your speech, then your EEG signals, and then your heart rate too, some vital signals also. So that was the features we had considered. Yes. Is there any research you are working on with respect to COVID and AI? How do we deal with situations when we don't have enough information and right information? Yes. So if it is the case, unsupervised learnings can be considered. There are various networks, even RNN kind of networks can be used. It depends on actually data. Even there is one network called as GAN, GAN, and these networks are used where the train data is different, and they are coming with different other samples of the data according to the train data. So they are not classifying it, but they are generating new data from the train data. So such kind of models can be used for the situations where such kind of enough information is not available. But related to COVID, people are sharing their data, which is available on GitHub and some other knowledge platform discussion forums, where the data is available, which you can make use of for finding out the pattern. Harshita. Yeah. Is there any evidence that clinicians and patients find the machine learning model and its output interpretable? Yes, people are using this IBM Watson kind of thing in oncology, and even for retinopathy, people are using this AI models, they are being embedded in the machine itself. So that is like robotic AI in robotics. So they are interpretable by doctors. Yeah. Anyone else? Yeah. So hope I have cleared the doubts, and hopefully it was useful for you, and you are motivated to do research in healthcare domain. Even there are certain opportunities in different areas where you can work upon. So thank you so much. Yeah. Yes, Lavanya ma'am, over to you. Shall I stop presenting?
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you for presenting. Yeah, thank
Yes,
you for the
thank you so
wonderful
much.
session, ma'am. I think one more question we have. How do we find
Uh,
asymptomatic patient in case of corona through AI?
how to find a symptom is in case of COVID-19. Yes, that time I told you about breath analysis and chest scans. These kind of things can be used for asymptomatic patient, because though you can see the symptoms outside, something is happening and something is changing in your body, which will be useful for finding out a person is COVID-19 patient or not. That is also possible. Can we use voice of person for detecting COVID-19? Yes, you can find. The research is not done here, so you are open to that. You can just try it out whether there is certain changes or not. So you can apply certain techniques and see if there are certain variations. So you will require certain cases where there is a person of COVID and there are patients of COVID and patients of non-COVID, and based on that, yes, you can say yes, like COVID ka patient at least depressed to hoga hi. Yes. So hopefully I have answered all the questions. Thank you so much.
One second, ma'am. Hello, Siddharaju sir, you are there?
Yeah, madam.
Okay,
I'm listening.
okay, sir. Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Deepti D. Patil, for your time and also for this wonderful and informative session, ma'am. Now I
Yes,
request
thank
Dr.
you.
Siddharaju sir, our Dean Academics, Front Professor and Head, to speak few words. Over to you, sir.
Okay, thank you, Lavanya.
Thank you, sir.
Good evening, DP madam.
Good evening,
First and
sir.
foremost, I kindly excuse me because of that some emergency meeting regarding our online examinations. I could not able to join for this wonderful webinar. I must congratulate you to accept our invitations. On behalf of the
Yes.
Dr. AIT and the computer science family, I must congratulate, and again I am going to what you say for your kind considerations to deliver a talk on this one of the core area and interesting area of artificial intelligence and its application.
Yes, sure.
It's my duty to congratulate all my colleagues who have participated directly and inside and outside colleges. And it is our customary to also congratulate all the people. And I am looking for the same in future also. And Dr. AIT family, definitely you are looking for your cooperations in future due courses.
Yes.
Thank
Sure,
you
sir.
for your
Thank you.
participations with this for this webinar, and thank you one and all for your kind participations with this webinar. Over to Lavanya.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for your continuous support. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you being here. Thanks again for joining us today. Thank you, Deepti ma'am. We are glad to have you. Thank you very much.
Yes. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.